Hi, and welcome to the MyConsultant.ca Show. I'm Sarah Ostapchuk,
And I'm Joshua Penteloresco.
and we're here to help you with the Canadian immigration process. This show is designed to be a brief way to inform you on Canadian immigration news headlines, immigration policy and program concepts, and introduce you to industry experts. So, what's making headlines this week, Josh?
Well, first off, Canada will announce their immigration levels plan for 2022 to 2024 by February. Sometime next month, that will come out. The update will include the number of immigrants Canada plans to welcome under each immigration class for the next 3 years, much like what they did in 2019 to 2021. This year, they're working on 2022. But that, as informative as it is not the big announcement for today, is it, Sarah?
Our larger headline today is that on January 17th, Minister Sean Fraser announced a $35 million investment from the federal government into settlement services for immigrants relocating to small towns and rural communities. And this is due to the extra financial burden that has happened because of the pandemic. Investments are to be made across Canada, but 9 new resettlement assistance program service providers will be implemented specifically in British Columbia, Alberta, Manitoba, and New Brunswick. And just for your information, settlement services provide language learning and employment opportunities.
Well, it's nice to see that, this is still happening to Canadians, people coming into the country. I'm not entirely surprised about some of the locations. I mean, it's been a trend that Toronto and Montreal and places, larger cities, do not quite have the same appeal they once had.
Right, for sure. They're very overpopulated and people can work from home now. They can live in areas that, the rent is cheaper and telecommute kind of thing. And I think that's alluring for immigrants as well.
Absolutely. Very interesting that it's British Columbia, Alberta, and Manitoba that are getting a lot of the love here. Very western, or very, at least west of Ontario, seems to be getting the majority of this, but it's good to see that other places are still, I mean, this isn't just for these places, but it's for all of Canada.
That's right. It's going to be distributed everywhere, but I guess there are certain areas that need more funding than others.
And with the headlines already done, we're finally back to doing our regular segments again. So, Sarah, this week Concepts in Immigration has returned. What is on the agenda?
Yes, so the week before last, we had started a new series that was going to be a sort of overview of immigration in Canada, how it works, what are the categories, kind of taking a step back from the specific stuff we were doing last year. And today we're going to talk more specifically within the non-economic class, and specifically the spouses or common law partners sponsorship program. So that's something that a lot of people are interested in learning about. We're going to very briefly, because it's very dense stuff, talk about that.
All right. So, without further ado, here's this week's Concepts in Immigration.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Concepts in Immigration. Today, we're going to be continuing our series on immigration classes in Canada. A couple weeks ago, we discussed that there is an economic class and a family class. We've spent a lot of time talking about the economic class. This includes PNPs and RNIPs, for example. But today, we're going to look into the family class a little closer, specifically the sponsorship of a spouse or common law partner. So let's get started. Who qualifies as a sponsor? A sponsor is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident who is at least 18 years of age and resides in Canada. The exception to this is a Canadian citizen who is living abroad. They can still sponsor their partner. However, there needs to be significant evidence that they will return to Canada once their partner is sponsored. They do not have to meet the minimum necessary income for their application to be accepted. However, it can be denied if it is clear that the sponsor may need to rely on social assistance to support their partner. In terms of inadmissibility, there are reasons that a sponsored person could be considered inadmissible under security, criminal, or medical reasons. This is the same for any person seeking a permanent resident status in Canada. What are the application requirements? Firstly, you must sign the IMM 1344 form. This must be signed by the sponsor, co-signers if applicable, and the person being sponsored. The form states that if the person being sponsored cannot provide basic needs for themselves, the sponsor will provide them for them during the undertaking process. And this includes food, shelter, utilities, and health care that is not covered by public health care providers, such as dental. Also included in the form is a promise for the sponsored person to make an effort to supply these things for themselves. Other forms that may or may not be applicable to you for the application process include the generic application form of Canada, additional dependence declaration, sponsorship evaluation, statutory declaration of common law union, relationship information and sponsorship evaluation, Schedule A background declaration, police certificates, additional family information, use of a representative, authority to release personal information to a designated individual, and proof of payment of fees. Just remember there are many details involved here, so if you have any questions or need further information, go to the Government of Canada website and look under Family Class. That's all for Concepts in Immigration. Thanks for joining me. And now we'll go to Josh for an exciting interview with consultant Lula Al-Hadiq.
I'm with today's guest, hope I get this right, ladies and gentlemen, Lola Al-Hadiq. How you doing today?
Great, Joshua. How are you doing? You got it right, though.
I try. I'm always a little nervous because, see, my last name's Pantellaresco. So it's one of those things, it's like, because I make people struggle so hard with my name, right? I got to make sure that I at least get yours right because it gives me the right to keep the struggle real, You're an immigration consultant, right? What do you specifically do as a consultant?
So, as a consultant, I carry on many hats. Maybe it'll help you understand more what I do if you know a bit of my background, because my background is I'm a CPA licensed from the US. And I had many years of experience in public accounting with the multinationals like KPMG, Ernst & Young, Price Waterhouse. So when I actually transitioned into immigration, I thought I was embarking onto something completely new. Mm-hmm. But I actually realized that my past life has helped me a lot in my present life, because I wouldn't be the best version of my entrepreneur side if I didn't have this background in what I used to do. Plus, doing what I did before, I was juggling 1,000 things at the same time. So that also trained me to do what I do. So yeah, as an immigration consultant, we juggle a lot of things, whether different programs, different clients, immigration, at the same time. But we specialize in economic class, litigation. I represent clients at the IRB in basically the Immigration Appeal Division and the Refugee Protection Division and the RAD. Immigration Division, I'm not very strong yet, so I still work with other colleagues in that area. And with the licensing from our college, I hope to be a better version of what I could do with my clients. I love to do humanitarian applications. We do a lot of that in our office. We do a lot of the more complicated cases. I take on cases that I always say immigration is not for the weak of heart. And for the weak of heart, it's a very cumbersome job for us, because when you're dealing with clients who've got a very difficult situation or case or application, sometimes I'm crying with my clients. And even when I look back at my submissions and my documentation, I always tell myself, if I can't shed a tear, I don't think the officer will. And so that's where I feel that we are strong in our office. And plus, with our background in business, we do a lot of business immigration. So technically, we are well-rounded in the amount of services that we provide in our office.
Immigration very often is a very personal business. People are making the decision to go to Canada in this case for very specific reasons, right? I don't think you could do a really good corporate giant assembly line process with this. It would be effective because, again, everybody's case is unique, right? Everybody has different needs, different wants, and they have different challenges, right? And understanding what those are would be very it is probably the hardest job. It's like, okay, how do I solve this particular problem? That's probably the biggest part of your job.
Exactly. And our clients come with problems and they ask us for a solution. So that's what we're trying to get. Sometimes there's no solution, and sometimes there's ways around it. And so, and that's led me to love the legal system. I've always kind of hated law. Again, maybe with my background and how I grew up and the exposure that I had. Working in immigration has made me love the legal side, and that's why I'm studying law now. I'm in my third year in my bachelor's of law. I hope to continue eventually, but I've found this passion for litigation, for advocating for clients, and whether I end up, becoming licensed as a lawyer or not, our role as immigration consultants at the IRB, and not just at the IRB, even in our day-to-day applications, because when we prepare our application for a potential refusal, we ensure that we have everything armed in the initial application so that we don't give the officer a chance to say, oh, you didn't do this or you didn't do that. And if they did refuse, then we have a strong basis to argue if we have to appeal or go to federal court or whatnot. And I think it's a beautiful profession. I love it. It's very demanding, very cumbersome, but it's a beautiful profession for those of us who love to research and love to fight for our clients. But again, it requires a lot of research, and I do read a lot of case law. I do a lot of that, and I think many people may think that's a bit more nerdy, but it teaches you a lot. It's like a story.
That was a really interesting interview segment.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. So it looks like the headline shows have been doing quite well for us.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that of the two that we've done so far, they've had a lot of views, and it seems to me that viewers are really interested in headline heavy shows.
Yeah, well, like I say, I'm not going to toot my own horn too much, but I thought that was going to be I thought it'd be a neat concept to do when we did have a lot of headlines, and I'm glad it's working. People seem to dig it.
Yeah, I'm really glad too. And if you as a viewer are really enjoying the headline episodes, there are a lot more headlines you can find on the MyConsultant.ca news tab of the website. There's actually some news blurbs that we've covered on the show, and there's a lot more that we haven't, and they are constantly updating PNP draws as well, if that's something that interests you. So definitely check that out if you are enjoying the headline heavy episodes.
For more information about the topics covered in this show, please visit MyConsultant.ca, where you can explore up-to-date news on important issues, read in-depth articles explaining immigration and citizenship, and seek answers to your most pressing questions from a vibrant community of authorized immigration and citizenship consultants. Also, check out the LinkedIn page for MyConsultant.ca. Thanks, guys, for watching. See you guys next week. I'm Joshua Pantelarusco.
And I'm Sarah Ostapchuk.
Aiding and assisting you coming to Canada.
Have a great week.